Well, good morning everyone. It's a nice day outside. Sun's shining. Got a coffee. But all the pleasantries are about to end because today I'm doing an FTP test. Now, if you haven't heard of an FTP test before, I'm going to go through that in this video. What it is, why you do it, what FTP is. We'll go through the lot. So for the moment I'm just going to try and put that at the back of my head and just enjoy some pleasant things in life. Getting ready here, a bit of procrastination, but that's okay and that's to be expected. So what is this FTP test all about? So the test is trying to determine what an FTP is, or a rider's FTP. Now that stands for functional threshold power. The definition of this FTP is basically what power a rider can hold if they were to go as hard as they could for 1 hour. So the simplest way of measuring it, or the most direct way, would be to go out on an ergo or find a climb that lasts for an hour, or an uninterrupted sort of flat piece of road like a time trial, and just go literally as hard as you can for an hour when you're in a fresh, rested and fueled up, ready to go state. Now obviously 1 hour is that's a really long amount of time to be pushing yourself for. To absolutely get a maximal effort over 1 hour, you need to be extremely motivated. It's also a little bit practically difficult. There's not many climbs around, and if you do it on an ergo, it's just a surefire way of putting people off riding. So what you can do is there's several protocols you can use of a shorter duration, which still allow you to estimate what an FTP is. Now, normally what we do is a 20-minute test, and that's what I'm going to do today. So basically, in the 20-minute test, you go as hard as you can for 20 minutes. I'll be doing on an ergo today. And then we measure the power through our Pioneer power meters. But I get an average power for the 20 minutes, and then what we do is we take 5% off that. And that's just a bit of an assumption that if I was to keep going for another 40 minutes, I was going to slow down a little bit. Pretty fair assumption, I reckon. So what's the point of getting an FTP test? Basically, it's an indicator of how good we are, or how our fitness is at developing energy aerobically. So that's with using oxygen. So the longer the test, the more aerobic the test is going to be, and it's going to be measuring those aerobic sort of aerobic abilities that your body's got. A lot of training zones when you're doing if we do intervals, for example, longer intervals, we'll base this off our FTP. So it's a handy thing to use in terms of a training tool, but also it's just a bit of an outcome measure so we can track aerobic fitness. So there you go, that's the FTP. So Fenz, my coach, is the one who's interested in all this, and he's the man behind FTP Training. So his training company, his business, full of coaches. It's named after this test, but more on Fenz later. Alright, so here we are, we're in the shed. That's where I'm going to do this FTP test. I've got the bike behind me, as you can see. It's plugged into the kicker. So ergo mode today. We've got a fan just behind me here. That's a must. You need to be blowing some cold air on you. It gets very hot while you're doing an FTP test. I'll actually take this shirt off. Now it's purely for practical reasons. I'm not trying to impress everyone with the naked upper body. I've realised it's not really that popular as a cyclist. Anyway, a little bit on FTP training, and the coach behind this, Mark Fenner. not too happy with him at the moment. He's the man who's sort of put this on the program, and that's why I'm about to put myself through this pain. Okay, I just had to edit another bit in from the future here, because I just gave the worst explanation of FTP training probably ever given. So Fenz, he started off FTP training quite a few years ago as a solo man. He was just in his office, just training a bunch of people, and he reached capacity. Then he trained up another one, Damien Mason. Two of them, FTP training empire building a little bit, more people having access to the high quality training services available from FTP training. And it just snowballed from there. The demand was there, they were doing a great job, and now they've got quite a few associate coaches. I don't know how many, but I'm going to say more than 10. So the good news is, if you're looking for a coach, whether you're elite or you're just trying to get fit and just targeting some local club races, FTP training, they're happy to do the full spectrum. It's a bit of a common misconception that they're only interested in more elite cyclists, and that's not hard to understand why that misconception is about, particularly when they've got so many riders at a really good level performing awesome, like in the National Road Series. Stacks of the top 10 all coached by FTP training. So get in touch if you're interested. There's associate coaches based all over the country. So no matter who you are, if you want a coach, get onto it. All right, now back to the FTP test. Oh man, let's keep rolling. Oh. So there we have it, FTP test. I hope you're happy, Fenz. I hope you're happy. That was hard, really hard. I'll have to just warm down, have a fluid, have a lot of fluid, have a shower, and then we'll analyse the results. But be warned, someone asks you to do an FTP test. They're very hard. Oh, crikey. Okay, so just a quick analysis of that FTP test that you just saw. So I've got the today's plan software up here, which is the program that we use to analyse all of our data. And I'll just flip the phone around. As you can see, it's a fairly even effort. So the green there is power output. The red line beneath it that slowly climbs up is heart rate. So one thing you can see there is that it was a fairly constant power held. That's a good sign. There was no blowing up at the end. There was actually a little bit of an increase at the end. I sort of emptied the tank, but as you can sort of see, I didn't have pretty much anything left in the tank, so it was a maximal effort. So that should give us a really good idea of where our aerobic fitness currently is. In the future, we do another test, we should be able to, see if things have got better or worse. Hopefully better. So the actual number that I averaged there was 373 watts. So to get the FTP, we take off 5%, and that leaves us with an FTP of around 355. So, just if you're interested, I'm about 187 centimeters high, and at the moment about 80 kilos. So, if you're a real small person, that's not really, it's not wise to sort of compare to a big person. You might sort of get demoralised, maybe not. And if you're a big person, don't get ahead of yourself. Power to weight's important. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video, and let us know if you enjoyed it. That's it for now. Goodbye.